Welcome back, everybody. It is live stream time for a long overdue live stream. And this one's for the 14,000 subscriber mark, which we achieved not too long ago. And I am blown away with the support. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed or hit the like button or left a comment. I've got my cup of tea here. So those of you who are new to the live stream format, it's basically me waffling and hopefully some of you guys chipping in with some comments here. I've got my laptop open and maybe somebody could chime in with whether we're coming through loud and clear or not. I'm trying to center myself in the screen here. It's all a little bit hectic getting the live stream going because you don't know what the camera is going to pick up until it's on. So there's usually a bit of a wait where I'm trying to line things up. But yeah, been skating lately. I managed to bang my thigh muscle on the coping and I got a dead leg, and then I did exactly the same thing the next day, and I've got to say it's a little bit uncomfortable. I haven't been skateboarding to the best of my abilities because my leg won't really bend. Not to say that they do bend that well when they're in proper shape, but having one leg that doesn't really bend at all, I found hampers the skating activities. But having a lot of fun trying to get into the deep end of the skate pool, and that's been the focus for the past couple of weeks, and it's been quite emotional. And the thing holding me back obviously is fear, and coming a cropper in that deep end is definitely the next level of scariness and possible injuries. And touch wood, so far I've been pretty lucky with the deep end coming off. It was actually the shallow end that I did my thigh muscle on, and I find those ones I just sort of hit my muscle and it gives me a dead leg. It's not like an actual pulled muscle, it's like a compression job. So just waiting to see if anybody's going to chime in, see if I'm coming through loud and clear or not. You can also pop in any comments or any questions you may have. The channel, as I say, has got over 14,000 subscribers now, and that's beyond my wildest dreams. And we're almost up to 2 million channel views, which again is absolutely ridiculous. So thank you very much to everybody that tunes in. Just waiting for people to get settled in, I reckon, with their beverages. Seeing if there's a little bit of chat, because that's usually what gets the party started regards to banter. Might just refresh this, see if we can get it going. It's all live action. Just refresh that. A little bit more tea. Oh, here we go. I've refreshed this and it's all come up. Brilliant. Right. Okay, so I'm going to go through and big shout out to everybody. Hopefully I'll say your name correctly. I'm absolutely terrible at this. So Sken is saying, how you doing? Yeah, loud and clear, mate. Esther is saying, just want to say thank you for inspiring me to take up skating at 46. It's a great age to get involved in skateboarding, Esther. I started at 44. I learned to drop in at 44. I did my ACL, I think, on my third drop in, and I was hooked. That was me in. And Esther said, oh, that's 4 years after breaking my leg at Concrete Waves on some quad skates. Oh, no. Yeah, I've often wondered about those quad skaters. I see quite a few about, and I'm just full of admiration because all I can see is a broken coccyx when I see those quad skaters. Crikey, it just looks incredibly difficult. I bumped into a local guy down at St Ives skate pool, and he was skating the pool on a set of quad skates and was very, very accomplished. There was a handstand going into the deep end and all sorts. It was quite remarkable. Toby's saying, say more about how you cope with the fear. It seems to be plaguing me too lately. The slams never hurt that bad, but I'm too afraid. Absolutely right, Toby. Yeah, the fear for me is it's a really strange mental side to skateboarding that I'm trying to grapple with and trying to understand. And I'm fascinated as to how you can get yourself to a point where you eventually do it. And I'm trying to work out how that process works and how to slim it down, because I sort of start off and I'm absolutely nowhere near what I'm trying to do, laughably so. And I try and show that in the videos how far away those early attempts are. And then I start going at it and adrenaline gets in there and I sort of get sort of locked into almost a hypnotic state. I like to skate alone because it means I can just go multiple attempts without having to wait. And at some point within that process, I'll suddenly have a little breakthrough and I'll think, I'm going to get this. And that's what goes into my, and then from then on, it's just game on. And probably after that attempt, or maybe a couple later, I'll properly commit. But I'm never sure as to whether I'm going to commit until just the moment that I do it. But I'm not sure how it all works because obviously, yeah, it's a really strange thing. But the fear, if I can get a really good slam out of the way, I find that gives me the confidence. And I know it sounds like a reverse thing, but if I can ride the slam out and go, okay, that's as bad as it's going to be, that gives me the confidence to just really go for it. But yeah, the deep end especially, I mean, this banging of the leg really sort of knocked my confidence. I was skating with all my mates, all the dudes at the local spot, and I felt like a bit of a wally because I sort of banged my leg in the same place and then did the old frustrated board toss and let myself down a little bit. So it was all a little bit humbling. But that's the wonder of skateboarding. I think that's why I'm so fascinated by it, because it is so humbling, isn't it? Brilliant. Right, here we go. Been watching you progress a lot lately. Your skating is rad. Thank you, Dustin. Yeah, I thought I'd talk about the board. The Andy Anderson Ep3 is what I've been riding, and I would say I've probably progressed the most since I've been riding it out of all the boards that I've ridden. I've progressed a fair bit on the old Snake, and obviously I'd started on the original Andy Anderson board, so there was a fair bit of progress. But I feel like this twin tip board is really, really good for getting the progression going. The only thing I'd like to change is the wheelbase is 14.5 and I like a 15-inch. So I'd like to try this twin tip concept with a 15-inch wheelbase. And I think I'd also like to try it in the 7-ply construction. At the moment, it's the flight construction, which is the 5-ply. And I do quite like the flight construction, but it definitely is different in feel to the 7-ply. And I would love to try this board in the 7-ply. If Pal Peralta can knock one of those up with a 15-inch wheelbase, why not? Yeah, that'd be wonderful. Okay, nice one, Dustin. Bikey, new subscriber here. Really love watching the videos. Just been taking up skating a few weeks ago after a huge skate park opened up near me. Oh, nice one. Whereabouts is that skate park then, Bikey? Sounds like it's perfect. Ben Morris, best switch carve going. Oh, thank you, Ben. That's very kind. I've been working on my front side switch carves, and that's the next video coming up. Oh my goodness. That is a new realm of terror. Just the feel of having to commit going backwards, doing front side carve. I want to eventually get the front side fakey grind. So just basically going backwards and grinding the coping. And I can do that to a certain degree backside. I find that not too bad, but the front side switch carve, oh my goodness me. Dustin, I grew up skating street, but the last 6 months I've been skating transition. I've had some really big spills and it makes me fearful to progress. Yeah, Dustin, I think it's a different type of spill on the transition. If you're used to the street, I guess you would have cultivated ways of dealing with that. I mean, that is my worst nightmare, falling off of a board that's on flat ground. Because obviously I'm 6'3" and I just, way, like a skyscraper just going down. I really hurt my shoulder trying to learn some sort of street stuff. And I think on the transition, just a little bit more practice and you'll quickly get the knack of falling on the transition. And I personally find it a little bit safer because I can sort of slide out or, you know, spoon out of a curve. Whereas just landing on the flat, no matter what I do, it's gonna smart a little bit. Right. ZZ Fluke is saying, morning, John. Morning. I'm assuming that ZZ Fluke is in a very different part of the world because it is currently the evening in Great Britain. I'm going to angle this camera down a bit. See if I can get it just down a little bit. Oh, that's probably too much. I'm on a bit of a time delay here on the laptop. Esther's saying don't do it. I can only imagine that's for the handstand into the swimming pool. Good evening from Ep3, Hemel Hempstead. It's Sensei Marcus. I was lucky enough to bump into Marcus when I had a trip up to Ep3. And Ep3, for those of you who haven't been in Hemel Hempstead, has got the most marvellous skateboarding bowl. It's also got a ridiculous climbing wall, and it's all in the same building. So it's a wonderful place to go and visit. But that inside skate pool really kept me honest. It's got the fattest coping, and it's quite, I won't say it's slippery, but it's definitely less traction than I'm used to when I'm skating round. So there was a chance of sliding out. It's very steep as well, as a skate pool often is. And we had a couple of lovely sessions there, Marcus and I. Kyle is saying, Dustin, get a surf skate. It makes learning tranny much more easier. You recommend the waterborne adapters. Yeah, the surf skate, I've got the trucks there. I don't know whether they're in shot, but this is the one I set up with the sort of Carver Park surf skate trucks. They've still got the reverse kingpin, but they're pretty detuned in terms of like going into the waterborne style of things. But they still turn in a surfy fashion, and I find it goes really well on the Winkowski. So when I'm out for a cruise, I'm going for that. I'm also thinking of getting back into riding the Winkowski with the independent trucks on it. And I'm also thinking of experimenting with putting some indies on me original Andy Anderson, because I had a great session on this the other day, and it sort of got me thinking, oh, I wonder if I should go back to the 15-inch wheelbase with the wider board. But I find that when I start down this road of tinkering with the setup, it leads to no good. It leads to frustration, and I wonder why I bothered, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it is a good saying for a reason. And I don't know why I get to this point where I'm like, well, everything's going really well, so I think I should probably change my board at this point. It seems like madness, but I don't know why I keep on getting sucked into it. Bikey says it's in Calais, France, 10 minutes from the Channel Tunnel. That sounds fantastic. Channel Tunnel and then into Calais. Skater Scott, hello Skater Scott. Afternoon from Southern California. Yeah, Southern California. It must be quite early on. I've just been watching the Miami Grand Prix warm-up, so I guess it's probably early afternoon maybe in California. Toby said, I had the Andy Anderson version 1, both in the Flight and the 7-ply. For some reason, the 7-ply seems super thick, more like a retro board than a typical modern deck. I like the Flight way more better. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, that does feel like a reissue board because it's 7-ply and it is shaped. Obviously, that's a 7-ply shaped. And then, yeah, the Flight construction, I guess it's just personal preference. I do really like it. I mean, I've been riding it exclusively for however long I've had that board, so a good few months, and I don't really notice it, I guess. But when I get on a 7-ply board, it seems to be, yeah, a different feel. It definitely feels different. Skater Scott saying 12 p.m. over in Southern California. Toby is saying it's noon in Seattle, home of Starbucks and grunge rock. Oh, not half. You guys, wow, this is amazing. What an international community we've got. Very, very nice. All right, a little bit more tea, I think. Thanks very much for chipping in. It really keeps the chat going. Probably chat up to about, well, see how we go. I usually talk for hours because it's skateboarding and it's, why would you not want to talk loads about skateboarding? Oh my goodness. So some tricks I'm thinking about attempting is going to be, I really want to get the backside 50-50 grind in the deep end, but try and do 2 of them. So at the moment I'm doing 1 and then sort of like doing a carve to get back out. And the way that the pool is built where I'm doing it, it feels quite good to go over the hip and use that speed to go round the sort of right hand side and then come out that way. I guess I could come down and then try and do it right in the center of the, and then come out. But the problem with the coping at Concrete Waves is some of it's a little bit rough and ready. So it's almost you have to pick your spot, because I really wouldn't want to come, you know, to a grinding halt quickly. Those of you who watched the St Ives pool, the first pool I started doing the 50-50s on with the Def Box, the coping on that is just perfect. It's pristine. It's a lot newer build. And that one seemed, even though it's a bigger deep end, it just seemed a lot more friendly. I know it seems like backwards, but getting them in the Concrete Waves pool is a bit of a dream, and always seemed way out of reach because it's quite tight and gnarly and stuff. Did you struggle with learning the 50-50 truck stall, says Dustin? Yeah, it's absolute nightmare, Dustin. I've only been frustrated with skateboarding a couple of times. I used to get frustrated with golf every round, and the reason I gave up golf is that I had one 9-iron that would work for any shot, and it was my go-to club, and it didn't work, and I threw it in frustration and it landed up a tree and I couldn't get it back. And without this 9-iron, I was sort of like going to be even more rubbish than I was. So that was the end of my golf career. And I've only done it twice in skateboarding in like 4 years. I try and stay focused, try and keep the tiger in the cage. But one time I did get frustrated was when I fell off of a axle stall and sort of did my arm and my hip. And that was after a session of doing like 50 in a row. And that is the wonder of skateboarding. I sort of had one session where I was just like, yes, bang, one after another. And then I came back the next day and I couldn't do one for like an hour. And then the one I committed to was the one I came off, and just like, this makes no sense. You know, the mistake I made is that I went to the skate park thinking, you know, I was entitled to doing it and I should be able to do it. And of course, it was a foolish mistake to assume that it was in the bag, because it seems like it's just a game of maintenance in terms of my skateboard tricks. It seems like everything just requires maintenance. Nothing remains in the bag. Everything is slipping out of the bag, and I'm trying to claw it back. And if I leave anything for anything more than a couple of sessions, it seems to have gone. So in answer to your question, it's a long rambling sprawl about did I struggle with the 50-50 truck stall, and the answer is yeah, definitely. I mean, it's taken me years, and I did a video which was the 10 phases of the axle stall that sort of plotted that progress, because the whole idea of making that video was to sort of allow me to reflect and focus and really try and work out why I find it so hard. And I think it is quite difficult to commit to standing on the coping, to commit to turning your back to the coping. The whole thing feels like it's going to slip out. And I guess what I needed to do was train my mind that there was safety. I could trust the wheel was going to hook on the coping. It was going to hold my weight. It wasn't going to slip out. I guess you just got to teach yourself that all those things. And another thing about the axle stall is that there's so many component pieces. There's the entry speed in, that has to be right. Then the amount of pump you do up onto the coping, the angle at which you go up the transition to the coping, the way that which you pivot onto the coping, the way in which your upper body moves and sort of ends up. And then once you're on the coping, and it's time to come back in, so you've got all that to think about. So yeah, it's like, I think any maneuver where you've got finesse movements that have to happen in a specific order, in a specific time frame, it's going to be emotional and tricky. Hey, here we go. Dirk is saying hello from Denmark. I'm coming to Denmark, Dirk. Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm playing a gig at a festival in Denmark, and I'm quite excited because I like going to Denmark. Toby's saying, I saw that you've been watching Chad Caruso's journey. So fun to watch him get closer and closer to his final destination. Yeah, Chad. I mean, Chad. I was lucky that Chad came on the podcast, and I was lucky to speak to Chad for an hour or so. And yeah, he's the real deal. In real life, he's exactly the same. There's nothing's put on for camera. He's just exactly Chad Caruso when you get to chat to him. I'm a big fan. I watched his channel in my early stages all the way through. He was one of the first YouTube guys I watched for trick tips, and I found his trick tips to be, the best ones to follow. And yeah, this skateboarding across America. I mean, even if you just watch it for the scenery alone, it's fantastic. And I think he's getting a bit more of a wider coverage. I spoke to him about his 50 tricks in 50 states, and I think he was a bit disappointed by the viewership. And I think with that one, it was probably a little bit more skate centric. So you had to be a skateboarder to enjoy it. But I think the skateboarding across America, people can appreciate the sort of wider challenge of that, the physicality and the mental toughness you need. And I think it's getting him a lot more coverage. A good old Chad. Dustin saying, oh yes. Talking of Chad, Musker's ES shoe re-release in the autumn. Oh yes, Chad Musker's shoe release. Nice one. Yeah, so chip in with what sort of shoes you wear. I've always exclusively worn the Caballero, either the half cab, which is what I'm wearing at the moment, or when I can get my hands on them, the full cab. And when I wear the half cab, I wear ankle protectors, and many of you have commented in wondering whether my ankles are so broken that they just remain in a terrible state. Some people think that I'm on day release and I've got some sort of ankle tag from the government, but they are in fact BMX ankle pads that I wear because I just can't be doing with the board knifing into my Achilles and my ankles. And those go under a set of Hoax socks. And I'll just give you a big shout out to the Hoax lifestyle clothing brand who have been kind enough to send me this very t-shirt today through the post. Very, very nice attire, very comfy for skateboarding. And many of you'll see me wearing such stuff regularly. Yo, BT the Bee is in. Hi John, our whole family watches and likes your videos. One of our favourite bits about them is when you say ho ho when you are going into your mini battles. Oh yeah, I'm always one of the hardest things I think with the running of the channel for me is to talk to the camera. I find it really difficult to remain remotely normal. And if you've ever tried talking to a camera with no one about, it's really weird because you just start talking strangely and like it gets really impossible just to say a sentence in a normal fashion. So apologies if some of the banter and some of the carry on is a little bit wayward. Some people have commented in and say you speak really strangely, and I would definitely agree. And it's something I've been working on. I've been trying to sort of even out that side because obviously, it's got nothing to do with skateboarding, but I do like to try and push the videos forward and trying to evolve it. And I think the presentation is one area that I could definitely do with some night classes on or something, I think, because it's quite tricky to do it. And I've got massive admiration for any sort of presenters on the TV or any of the really heavyweight YouTube people who are obviously very good at it, because it's a lot harder than it looks to do it. Dirk is saying, let me know if you need any tips on skateboards for your Denmark gig. Yeah, I'm definitely going to try and sneak a board in the old pedal board case, Dirk. So yeah, I would love to sneak in a little sneaky session in Denmark for sure. Brian is saying I need a pair of full cabs. Yeah, I actually emailed Vans and said, look, can we have some full cabs, please? Because I'm sure they'd sell out. And there's been various anniversaries gone past and they didn't do a full cab. And it's a shame it just isn't on there all the time, because I think the skate high tops are always available, but the full cabs seem to be a bit rare. Colin is saying, I've just started surf skating after 20 years of normal skateboarding and discovered that I prefer it over skateboarding. yeah, Colin, it's definitely a different vibe. I like to view, I think these genres within skateboarding, sometimes I like to view them as almost a different sport. I recently got the electric skateboard, and I think the electric skateboard polarizes opinion within the skateboard community. I think there's people that are like, that's not skateboarding, and I would agree. I would just say it's a different thing. You know, it feels like sort of snowboarding. It's like sort of Back to the Future. I like to think of as like a hoverboard, and it's definitely got its advantages. I did a little short video of the Nippers and I were on a camping trip, and we were doing this tow-in surf skating where I was pulling them up the hill with a leg rope from a surfboard, and then we were bombing back down, and we did it for about 2 hours straight. It was so fun. And I think things like that, the electric skateboard really comes into its own. And I reckon the surf skate and the surf skate setup has definitely got its advantages. You never have to kick off. You can practice your surf turns. You can practice your surf pumping. So yeah, I think it's definitely got its place. I'm wearing the Spartas. This is Active Dio Torg, the DVS Komachi and the DVS Enduro Hair. They're my new shoes. Globe Sabre is on the go shoe as well. Crikey, you've got a lot of shoes going on there. That's a nice thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of a bit OCD. I prefer the feel of one thing and getting used to that. But that sounds amazing that you've got so many different pairs on the go. My friend Adam Halvorsen, who's the ripping vert skater that sometimes features in the channel, Adam's kind enough to sort of take me under his wing and tell me it's going to be okay when I'm trying to skate the local vert ramp, which I'm always on the brink of crying when I'm there because it's so terrifying. But Adam just wears whatever shoes, he goes through them very quickly, and he wears whatever shoes there are. And I always marvel at it because he's got a different make, brand, set of shoes every time. And I'm like, how can you still skate so amazingly and have a different board feel each time? It's quite remarkable. Jordans. BT the B is saying Jordans. Oh, that is some nice 80s vibe there. That's right. Archive is saying. Toby, never heard of the full cabs. It's at the Skate High. I have the Vans Lizzie Armonto high tops, and they are super dope. Tons of board feel. Yeah, Toby, if you have a look at the original Caballeros, they weren't called the full cabs. They were just called the Caballero, and they're like a high top, like the skate, but like a bit more padded. And what guys did is guys and girls started cutting down the full cabs with a pair of scissors and then duct taping the tops. And then at that point, you know, everybody twigged and Vans started making the half cab, which was the cut down full cab. But if you go online and just search for the Vans Caballero, you'll see what it is. It looks very similar to the Skate High, but it's a little bit different. Helen is saying, don't change. We all love your presentation. Oh, thank you very much. Presentation is spot on. Don't sell yourself short. Thank you, BT the Beat. That's very kind. Yeah, you see, I guess it's easy to be critical, and yeah, it's quite tricky to. Oh, I guess if you've ever recorded yourself talking, it's always a surprise. I don't think anybody likes the sound of their spoken voice, and obviously you have to edit these videos, so I guess that's the same phenomenon happening. I have to listen to my own voice back, going, "What is really? Is that how it sounds?" Only reason I got loads of shoes is because the Christmas January sales. I never buy them full retail price. Good man. That's a man from my own stable. Canu 2021 is saying hi from Spain. Yeah, I had a lovely trip to Spain, Alicante. I had a marvellous time. Definitely going back. It was brilliant for skateboarding. Skate Oasis. Yeah. Craig Miller. Nose on the Winkowski? ? Love the board, but I can't get it over a spine. Also fall off the front when dropping into steep transitions. Maybe I'm just not good enough to skate yet. I wouldn't say that, Craig. Yeah, the nose. If you have a look at the nose on the Winkowski. Now, this is an improvement. I'm currently in a transitional stage with the Snake. So the Winkowski has actually got the exact back of a Kendall. So this is the Kendall Snake. And the Winkowski's got exactly the same back. I'll see if I can hold this up to the camera, but you can see, there you go, you should see no difference in the tail there between the two. But the Winkowski has actually got a bit more nose on the front. So yeah, it's actually got a bigger nose. There you go, you can see it's probably about half an inch more. And it's still, compared to a normal board, crikey, this is a bit of a juggling match. What would be a normal board? Well, let's have a look at the normal Andy Anderson. You can still see that it's still a lot short on the nose. It's a good couple of inches less. So, yeah, it definitely takes some getting used to. But if you think about it, if you put your nose in the pocket where you would do for a fakie rock or for a nose stool, it still fits nicely. It's just the comfort factor of having a good couple of inches more sticking out the front, whereas opposed to it being right there. So you've sort of just taken away the bit that you never use, really. But I guess it's like for ollies and things like that, I know that if you're used to sweeping your front foot up and hitting the nose to bring the board level, then a no-nose is going to be a bit of a struggle. But no, keep going with it. I love the big shaped boards. As I said, I'm thinking of getting back on one just because it's just ridiculously the wrong thing to do. I always get sucked into it. Marcelo, my name is Marcelo from Brazil. Hey, how you doing, Marcelo? I'd love to come to Brazil. I was skating with my friend Leo, Leonazzi. He's from Brazil and he's a really good skateboarder. And he was at the pool the other day. Debbie's saying, I really enjoyed the yoga and stretching video, along with the rest of your videos. Oh, nice one, Debbie. I was going to do, some people have been kind enough to comment in and ask about the warm-up routine, if I've got like a stretching routine to get going. And I was thinking of doing a video on that and also one on sort of recovery and stuff. The thing that holds me back from doing any of the more lifestyle-based things is that I'm in no way qualified to comment about diet or stretching or training, or I'm not qualified in any of those things. And what I've done is I've sort of like done a fair bit of research and just found the things that work for me. So I think it's very difficult to, you know, come into it and say, oh yeah, you should be doing this, because everyone's different and some of it won't work at all for other people. And I guess I could just share some of the things that I found that work for me. I guess, I mean, there's a few things. I do heal unusually quickly, I guess. And I do seem to be able to bounce off the concrete a little better than people would expect. Judging by the comments, there seems to be quite a lot of comments that say, oh, you know, it wouldn't be skateboarding for a few weeks, and I like to skate every day. So I guess there's something in it. I'm sort of plant-based. I don't really eat a lot of animal protein at all. And yeah, just all the things I drink a lot of water, I have a lot of supplements. I've been having a little bit of creatine just to help with the strength of the muscles, and that seems to be working. But I guess I'm 49 years old, so it feels like it's a game of management all the time. And it feels like the amount of hours that need to be put in are quite a lot. I guess if you're a younger person, you can still maintain a good level of performance, but you could treat your body like a bin bag, just like I did when I was a younger person, and still get away with it. Whereas now I'm finding that every little tweak is worth doing. Nice one. Preferred the outro of middle-aged guy learning how to skate. No biggie though. Oh, okay, brilliant. And I'm a middle-aged guy learning how to skate. Yeah, I can put that one back in. Again, it's really strange because you get into these catchphrases and then you're like, oh, I'm going to put that one back in for the next video. Kendall Snake was my first pro board in 1988. That's Kilimanjaro. Brilliant. First pro board. Love the Kendall Snake. Craig, cheers, bro. Need to get better then. No, I don't think it's better. It's just a case of like just riding what feels comfortable. Hey from Somerset says Set and Dawn. Oh, I'm used to this reading stuff. Oh, Hey, come and skate Victoria Park in Bath. Amazing vert ball. We all love your channel. Yeah, I've skated Victoria Park and it is absolutely full power. Am I right in saying that it's a little bit built on the wonk? It's quite sort of quirky, as I remember. It's like certainly not one of these sort of maverick parks where everything's perfect. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the challenge. The bit I really liked was that sort of ditchy mini ramp bit down the bottom. I thought that was really ace. B to the B. When did you bin off your mini ramp? I moved house from Poole nearly 2 years ago now, and the mini ramp had to go when I moved house, and I sold it to a good friend of mine, and it's still going strong in their back garden. And yeah, it served me really well, that mini ramp. And it was the thing that helped me springboard into doing a few more tricks, because I found the reason that I built it is because there was nothing in my local area that was the right size to learn on for me. I found everything was just too big and too daunting, and I was never going to learn anything because I was too scared to try. So I had to build something specifically 3 foot tall, 6'10" transition, and I found that with that, skating it every day, I got used to it, and I got my confidence levels up because I knew the ramp and I knew what I could get away with, and it allowed me to progress really quickly. Drying up the bowl and then skating it in the rain was brilliant. Would be livid. I was so miffed. Yeah, that video, I was trying to capture the process of like basically what everybody goes through, I guess, with skateboarding. Is you get down there really, I'm gonna do it today, and you get there and it's like, okay, right, let's get the pads on quick because it's looking a bit rubbish, and then literally drop in rain. Oh no, it's stopped now. It should be all right. Get the towels out, clean it all out. It just about dries. Again, do a few more runs. Then it rains again, and then after the third time, it's just like, that's not going to happen today. I have to bin it off. But yeah, I'm bad at taking no for an answer because I get so on the way, I get so excited, and I've sort of visualised, and I'm like, yeah, today's the day I'm gonna, whoa. And then you get there, and it's sort of off the cards, you know. Good stuff. Hope you're settling in with all your beverages out there, and. So what's coming up next? And there's another, I want to get the blunt fakie going, but that is a fear beyond belief. I find that if I can keep on skateboarding and trying other things, eventually I'll get my special bar up. So when I come back to trying the thing, I might have got the prerequisite skills from something else I was trying, and then all of a sudden I can do it. And it's surprising that if I leave it for a while, sometimes it can click. But the blunt fakie has been one that is just, yes, I've done everything, but I've done the blunt rock and roll, the blunt rock to fakie, the blunt axle stall. I've done the feeble fakie. I think I need to do the pivot fakie, and then we get the blunt fakie. But yeah, if I can get that one, I'll be pleased. Blunt to rock is the easy way on something tiny first. Yeah, I definitely agree. BT to B, it's definitely easier than the blunt fakie, but I really want to do it. I really fancy it. Good stuff. Now I've burnt through another set of 187 pads, so I'm gonna have to try and get some more because they are gaffer taped and they're pretty much at it. And I find that they've been a lifesaver. I've been wearing them quite a lot lately. I went through a period of not really wearing the pads because I was more in a mini rampy sort of street cruisy bit, but for the bigger bowl stuff really allows me to get out of mischief, so I've been wearing them and they've worn out. Good stuff. Yeah, so this setup, I'm thinking this Andy Anderson 7-ply with the independent trucks on, might try that, and then I'll end up back on that literally in the same session wondering why I bothered. But yeah, if the Emperor don't fix it, I'll try and fix it. Yeah, the weather here has been, in the UK, down in the southwest, has been a little bit hit and miss. I guess it's probably the way you'd expect April, but it's been a lot of raining going on, and then just enough of a glimmer of sunshine to to pull us through, make us believe. But I'm hoping that we have a good sort of spell of dry weather so we can really get it going, because this rain has been a little bit of a deal breaker. So yeah, I might have some trips coming up country, so I might visit a few skate parks north of the river. That might be coming up. Pretty exciting. Skate some different terrain. I really fancy trying the backside 50/50 in my old local bowl, which is the Duck Lane Bowl. But that one's like, it's 9 foot with a good bit of vert on it. So I think trying it in there would be pretty exciting. But it really would be beyond my wildest dreams to get some sort of 50/50 in that bowl. Oh my goodness. Right. Nice one. So if there's no more comments, I guess we can think about wrapping things up. It's been an enormous fun chatting to everybody. We're up to nearly 14,100, so it could be 15,000 soon. I usually tend to do these live streams every 1,000 subscribers. The rationale being that there's 1,000 new people in the community to welcome in and chat to and like have a bit of banter with on the old text chat. That's the idea. And also it's just like an arbitrary reason to do it. It sort of spaces it out. I usually get 1,000 subscribers every sort of 3 months, which means you end up doing a live stream every sort of 4 times a year or something. And I've tinkered with the idea of doing a live stream outside. And I put up the little thing about Taunton, and I was wondering whether I should do one. But the problem is you've got other people in there, and with live TV, anything could happen. It's bad enough in here on my own. You never know what's going to happen, let alone outdoors. So it could be something to explore. But yeah, it's a tricky one to pull off, I reckon. I think my chat is stalled again. Here we go. Oh, we're off again. There we go. Sean, I'm 53 years old and I haven't really skated since 1990. I just got a Kendall Snake and eventually hope to try my hand at riding bowls. Oh, nice one, dude. Yeah, the Kendall Snake. Oh, 1990. Brilliant. Yeah, get into the bowls. That'd be perfect. Tracy's Diary. Like yourself, I'm South Coast and skated Swansea from day one in the 1970s. It's pants, but it's still serviced. Bizarre. Have you skated it? South Sea, I haven't, and I'd love to go there because it is the proper like vintage. It's got like the old school snake run. It's got some mental looking bowl affair. God knows how much. And it's got a massive vert ramp, I believe, like a 14-foot vert ramp. I'd love to go and skate that. Yeah, I haven't been, unfortunately, as yet. Wow. Do you still skate there now then? Okay, I saw the B2 to the B. Yeah, I saw the Bones Brigade back there in the 1990s. I think the big bowl is called Satan's Bowl. Oh, it'd be amazing. Satan's Toilet. Yeah, it'd be amazing to see the Bones Brigade skate that. Crikey. Hi, John. I've been hitting the loading bay in Glasgow in the morning for the weekly session there with my son and nephew. Yeah, I loved going to the loading bay in Glasgow. The bowl there is one of the just massive. The floor plan of the bowl is fantastic and it flows. It's got like a sort of symmetrical pocket design and then a big, and you can just go round and round at breakneck speed. It's absolutely brilliant. It's also got quite a sort of innovative street section, which, as the name suggests, loading bay, it was an old loading bay for lorries, and they've integrated all those bits where the lorries back on. Those are all like the ledges and stuff, so it's really exciting spot. Craig flew into the toilet a few months ago. Scary stuff. The snake run is fun. Yeah. Satan's Toilet. Yeah, if you get a chance, have a look online at the South Sea skate bowl, and it's like some sort of, it's got like extensions on it and they look absolutely massive. David said, yeah, it's a lovely place, the old loading bay. Yeah, I hope to get up to Scotland again pretty soon. Some really, really good spots. I tend to find the further up north you go, the more mental it all gets. I went to Aberdeen, and the bowl there was, oh my goodness, it was fantastic, but it was massive. It's like a good 10-foot deep end, and everything seems to be a little bit more. Whoa. Good stuff. Yeah, so we're going to get this leg better, keep icing it, keep stretching it, and then going to get on to recording the next thing. I've got this board slide. I've been trying to board slide the deep end, and I thought that a good intermediary would be to board slide in the pocket. So I've been trying to board slide around the pocket, and you can sort of imagine what happened. So I'm editing the video of that process, and I'm also tinkering with the idea of getting some flatland stuff going again. I did a little series on freestyle skateboarding, but I'd quite like to do like some basic street maneuvers, just like, you know, the 180 and the ollie and the etc. I think that might be quite fun, but I am very concerned about really injuring myself. Tracy's Diary saw Tony Alva and Mark Baker skate South Sea. Alva sadly couldn't skate South Sea because the transitions are so bad. Oh dear. Just got the Dope Planet deck for $40. Millionaire Gaming. Wicked. That is a bargain. Ramon, do you have any tips for rolling in on transition, backside or front side? Yeah, I put together a video on the rolling in, and that was an emotional journey because that is one of the scariest things. And I found that my process, I went right back to the start, and I learnt to just drop off of a curb first of all, and then drop off of a larger ledge, just manualing the wheels off, getting a feel for that. And I started to just go straight over the coping on some sort of mellow quarter pipes, and then eventually I've got it going into the bowl. And also on the mellower quarter pipes, I experimented with doing the front side, which is just a front side kick turn, and the back side. And I found that out of all of them, the back side and it is the hardest one. I found that the hardest. The front side is probably the easier one, and then going straight over the top was my preferred method because I just like the gung-ho sort of nature and the amount of pump you could get. But yeah, that one is, I think for me it was worth building it up from the very start and getting my confidence that I could drop off a curb or a ledge every single time, and then I could get it every single time into a little mini quarter pipe, and then just kept building it up. But if you go back and watch that video, there's a whole process right from me falling off my first one, because yeah, I thought how hard can it be, and it turned out it was really hard. Good. David, we've got an OG session Saturday morning. I'm like a blues brother getting all the other OGs out of retirement. There's a renaissance. Yeah. I definitely say that it's never been a better time to go skateboarding than now. It seemed, obviously COVID was a bit of a weird thing because it sort of maybe changed the landscape of what you'd expect. I think a lot of people reassessed their leisure time and had time to experiment, and skateboarding was one of the things that went up. But I think it's still going that way. I think just the natural thing of having maybe at an age where you've got children that are growing up, or it leads us into this sort of, wow, you know, something we can do together. They're into it, and it brings you back into it. So I guess there's a lot of familiar stories as to why we're all here with a common goal of having a lovely old time pursuing the skateboarding. Yeah, I absolutely love it. It still hasn't waned. I did a video a few months ago about sort of reaching a plateau, and that was the first one. Everything is, up to that few months ago, everything had been an upwards trajectory. It had just, my love for it kept on growing, and I couldn't believe it. I was just more and more obsessed, if it was possible. And then eventually I got to that inevitable plateau where I was just like, oh. And I think it's because I was getting a bit into the climbing, and I've got a one-track mind. I can only concentrate on one thing at a time. And also I was worried I was enjoying the climbing and I didn't want to injure myself. And basically any injury. I think with the skateboarding, I've learned that I can sort of skate with an injury and you can sort of get away with it. But with the climbing, it's so body performance orientated, you can't really have any injury on any bit. Otherwise you can't do it. So that started feeding into my mind, and then that was ruining my skateboarding, because I think, you know, I'm very much of the opinion that if you go in without thinking about any of that, inevitably you'll be okay. It's like the rugby player mentality. If you go into a tackle full power without any fear, you'll come out, everyone will come out fine. But I think if you go into the tackle and you hesitate, or you're unsure, or you're a bit nervous, or you go in a bit half-heartedly, you inevitably will get injured. And I think it's the same with the skateboarding for me. If I can go in there with just gay abandon, willy-nilly, it will all work out for the best. But I was finding I was coming into skate sessions a little bit with that in my mind, tentative, like, oh, I don't want it, you know. And I think that was just an accident waiting to happen. So I had to reassess that. And luckily that video was very helpful to me, because I got to talk through the process and just like get through it. So anybody that watched that one, thank you for supporting me through that, I guess. David, yeah, absolutely. Bit of me time, it's rare. Oh, wicked. Well, thanks very much, everybody, for tuning in. As ever, I'm absolutely blown away with the community that we've got, and the skateboarding that goes on, and the kindness of everybody. And I couldn't have done any of this without the support. I really do channel the YouTube. It really does allow me to progress. It gives me a focus. Making the videos allows me to concentrate on a certain thing and, you know, give it 100%. And I find that the process of talking through it is very cathartic for me. It helps me sort of compartmentalize each part of it. So the fact that anybody watches is fantastic, because it validates the whole reason to do it. So thank you very much for tuning in. Oh, so B2B is saying, do I cut down the mini? So I think 4 foot to 3 foot, stop the yips. For me, I would say there's definitely a cut-off point where it's really fun and you can sort of get away with blue murder, and then there's a point where it gets a bit more real, and you're sort of like, and I think for me it's somewhere in between that. If it gets above the 4 foot thing, then you're into the realm of, oh, okay. The local mini ramp at Mount Hawke is, I think, sort of 4.5, 5 foot. And that one, if I wear no pads on that one, I'm really limited to what I can get away with. I'm sort of got a handful of 10 tricks I can do. And then if I put the pads on, I'm okay. I can sort of risk it a bit more. But there's a mini ramp that features in the videos over in Plymouth, and that one's more like your 2.5 foot, and that one's fantastic, because there's no point wearing pads, because they wouldn't help you. There's nowhere to slide out on, and you can just, you know, I find I can just like do all of my tricks. And so for me, I found that having the small mini ramp was so beneficial for me. But I guess everybody's different. There is a school of thought that you've got more time on a bigger ramp, and also you can slide out of things and it can, you know, be a bit better. But I just find it's a game of physics. If you fall from 3 foot off the coping, it's going to be a lot more manageable than falling 4 foot off of the coping. Yeah, I reckon. You've got to get the blunt on that one in Plymouth. Yeah, I reckon that was the thing I got excited about. The one in Plymouth is, you know, I love it, but it's got really, really proud coping, which is the reason I like it. So I think it might be the one for the blunt. But I think I'm overthinking it, but I was hoping for mellow coping so I could just sort of not get... The thing I'm really worried about is getting hooked up on the way back in and falling on, but I've got to get through it. I've just got to... I know I'm going to hook up. I know I'm going to fall backwards, so I need to just go in there and do it, basically. JD Carter, whoa, yeah, check it in. Right then, everybody, thank you very much. I think we'll we'll call it a day at this point, and I wish you a happy weekend. Hopefully we'll all get out skateboarding. I'm going to get this leg back in order, and then there will be more of the same coming up shortly. Thank you very much for all of your support. Oh, hello, David's just saying, I just built my 3.5 foot mini ramp with 6 foot transition. Rewatching every mini ramp battle video you made. Taking a break right now to watch this. Love these videos. Oh, nice one. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, I think that, I mean, 3.5 foot with a 6 foot, that would be just fantastic. What a great ramp. B2 to the B. Nice one, dude. Okay. I shall see you all later. It's a wrap. I need to make this thing stop. Oh, just joined the live stream, Mario. Just want to say cheers. Oh, nice one. Thank you, Mario. You can go back and watch the ensuing waffle. Oh, no, Sean said thanks for all you did. Oh, nice one. That's very kind. This is a lot of kindness. I've been using the Apple Watch lately, actually. I don't know if you guys use smartwatches, but I found this has been quite good. Number one, I can get the camera up on it of the old phone, and it will show me what's, so I find that quite good for filming. And the other thing is it gives you a readout of all your data, and I find it fascinating how many calories you can burn in a bowl session. I've sort of been chalking up, you know, a lot of calories. I guess heart rate's always up there at 130 odd, and a divert ramp even more so. That's a real calorie burner. So yeah, I think if you're up for a bit of exercise, the skateboarding can really do nicely. I can't stop. I can stop. Let's see if I can stop it. Right, bye everybody. Where is it? Oh, nice one.